In our last video, we explored the downtown area of Winter Garden, Florida. The Central Florida city is part of the Orlando metro area. In this video,
we're in Frostproof, Florida.
Frostproof is the third stop on what we're calling our Florida winter-themed destinations. It was also the first of 4 towns that we eventually visited on this awesome February weekend.
We're here in Frostproof, Florida, which is in Central Florida. We're starting at Lake Clinch, which is on one side of town, and then we're going to head over to the other lake here in a few minutes. Enjoy the scenery.
Geographically, Frostproof sits between 2 lakes, so we thought it would be fun to start at one and walk to the other via the downtown.
Frostproof is located off of Florida Scenic Highway 17. It's located on the Lake Wales Ridge in South Polk County. Current population is around 3,000.
For context, we're walking on Wall Street from the west toward the east. And also for context, we filmed this the second week of February. In fact, it was Super Bowl weekend. This is a Saturday.
Our first interesting building was the old City Hall. Most recently, it looks like it housed a martial arts studio.
Yeah, it appears that the new City Hall is what was formerly the high school. So we'll get to that here shortly.
The city has an interesting history. It was originally settled in the 1850s. It was set up as a fort, Fort Clinch, named after Lake Clinch, which is where we started this video. But it was abandoned after a few months. Permanent settlers arrived in the 1880s because of abundant hunting and fishing.
Coming up on the left is the current City Hall, as I referenced before, which started life in the 20s as the town's high school.
It was built in 1926 and added to the National Register of Historic Places in 1997. The city was named Frostproof in 1894. It was designed to convince people to buy land there for the citrus industry, implying that they could never have frost. However, during the Great Freeze of 1895, just 1 year later, frost killed most of the citrus in Frostproof. So despite its name, Frostproof experiences at least one night below freezing 65% of the winters.
A lot of this downtown faces Florida's scenic Highway 17, including the section we're walking along right now.
Along this stretch, there are several shops, a hair salon, an antique store, a secondhand store, as well as PJ's, which is a restaurant that's been there more than 80 years. We had lunch there and it was great. We've now turned back onto Wall Street, which is arguably the heart of downtown. They're setting up for the Valentine's Street Dance, and you can see across the street is the Ramon Theater. The Ramon Theater was built in 1925, and it's still in use. They have live music and other entertainment, as well as murder mystery events there.
Yeah, this theater, and this whole block for that matter, are exactly the kind of places we really like to find when we're traveling, particularly to very small rural towns. Full disclosure, it could be the Raymond Theater. As we're filming this, we realize we're not actually sure how it's pronounced, so sorry locals if you're watching this. Ramon, Raymond, whichever one it is, it's a really cool theater.
This building on the right is the Chamber of Commerce, and that's actually where you get tickets for the theater events.
So at this point, we're just circling back to get a better look at the theater up close.
So we just learned they're setting up for a Saturday night street dance.
It's kind of funny, the main street downtown happens to be setting up for an event. We seem to have a way of timing things just perfect like that. But good on Frostproof for even having these kind of street festivals. That's fantastic.
And speaking of street festivals, Frostproof holds the annual Orange Blossom Festival in mid-February. It was scheduled for the week after we were there.
There's that timing thing I talk about.
Yeah. What is now the coffee depot was once the original train depot. The railroad came to Frostproof in 1912. However, there are no commercial or passenger trains that now go through town. This coffee shop is open for tours as well as host to many events.
I love this shot. It's like the quintessential Southern railroad scene. This is one of the more interesting U-Haul rental places we've seen in our travels. Speaking of, if I remember right, Carol, wasn't there a sign that we saw as we entered town that said, New Yorkers, vote vote Republican, or go home, or don't vote Democrat, or something like
that. It wasn't exactly welcoming to everybody.
Yeah.
This is a historical marker for an Indian burial ground from the 17th century.
And on the left here, we are approaching the American Legion, and obviously has a pretty extensive shuffleboard area.
We've now reached Lake Reedy, which spans about 3,500 acres, making it 3 times as large as Lake Clinch, where we started our journey. The average depth of Lake Reedy is 12 feet, with a max depth of only 19 feet.
Yeah, spoiler alert, I guess at the end when we do our wrap-up, we always give our 2 cents on these places and whether they're worth visiting, and I'm pretty sure both of us say this isn't really a destination, but I will qualify that. This would be an excellent fishing destination. This whole area is absolutely covered in lakes. Okay, after traversing from one lake to the other via the downtown, it was time to circle back to the downtown area for lunch. Ah, yes, our walkability rating. Well, I guess on the poor, moderate, or good, this one would probably be a good, just simply because there's not much to see, so you don't have to walk very far.
I would agree. While the city is 19 square miles, the downtown is pretty small. The one qualifier is that much of the downtown is along the highway here, although speeds are low and there isn't a ton of traffic.
So after a great lunch, it was time to head back. So here we are back on Wall Street, this time heading west back to where we started at Lake Clinch. So with that said, it's time to wrap this up. All right, what'd you think of Frostproof?
I thought Frostproof was cute. It's not a destination for sure. It's pretty tiny, but it's between 2 really cool lakes, and the downtown is cute.
Yeah, I'd agree. I wouldn't consider this a destination. If it's on the way to somewhere, it might be worth checking out, or if they have a festival or something. But they did have a really nice restaurant that we found that's kind of hidden right on the main street that passes through town. So for what it is, I give it a thumbs up.
I would agree.
All right, get off the couch. We'll see you next time.
Cheers.